Hey everybody, Nick Fisher here, registered dietitian. Today we're going to go over a topic that I find to be needlessly confusing for people. Um, so, everybody's afraid of carbs, and there's no reason to be. Like, just stop it, first of all. Carbs are not bad. If you're eating only carbohydrates, it's not the carbs that are bad, it's your food choices. So, carbs are not bad. But let's talk about something that I find to be really confusing for a lot of people. Whole grain carbs and refined grain carbs. There are people who put whole grain carbs on this pedestal of just godly status and revere them. And then there are the refined grain carbs like a white burger bun, that people treat as if it has wronged them and their family in the past. So let's take a step back and just think about it in the sense that refined grains, people are like, oh, those carbs, they're just sugar, or these turn to sugar, or they're simple sugars or simple starches. Just pump the brakes. So, whole grain, refined grain. Whole grain, we lose the bran, or whole grain, we have the bran, the endosperm, and the germ. The carbs are mostly in the endosperm. Other stuff like proteins, minerals, fibers are in these two areas. We remove them for refined grain. So you see, we keep the carb over here and in here. The carbs are the same in each one. The carbs are not changing. The content of the protein and vitamins, minerals, and the fiber, that's going to change. And even then, refined grains can have some of the vitamins and minerals added back in. But even so, if you were to peel an apple, you would not take the outside cover off and the core off, like the bran and the endosperm, or the bran and the germ, and say, oh, that apple is all bad. But that's how we're treating grains. The apple itself, the inside stays the same. So it's the same thing with grains. And even then, the grains and the carbs or starches in each grain, refined or whole grain, if you can see this image behind me here, this long thing of circles connected together with a little chain, this represents a large carbohydrate molecule, but in reality, the carbohydrate molecule is actually 1,000 times bigger than this. It's 1,000 times more complex. So your broccoli, the carbohydrates in that, here, your burger bun, carbohydrates, here, okay? Here's the thing. They all become simpler, smaller versions, and they break down to individual carbohydrate molecules by the end of digestion. So to say that, like, oh, my burger bun here is a white burger bun, it turns to sugar. Yeah, so does your whole grain bun. So does your broccoli. So does everything else. That is a carbohydrate. Your fruit and everything. So that idea is just not rooted in reality. In all honesty, this is such a complex structure that if you change it a little bit, it becomes fiber, which is harder to digest. If you change it a little bit more, it'll become cellulose, like plants. Okay, and that's the fiber we get from plants. In fact, your body stores a similar molecule to this, a little different structure, as glycogen in your energy and liver for energy stores. So the idea that like white bread, carbs, bad, doesn't really add up. If you are eating a lot of foods that have simple carbs, like added sugar to them, there's a limit to what you can eat in a day, okay? Most people on 2,000 calorie diet should be 50 grams or less a day of added sugar. So if you're eating a lot of foods, you're getting a lot of added sugar. You're also eating foods that probably aren't packed with vitamins and minerals. If your diet consists of hyper sweetened drinks and candy and ice cream and treats, you're eating food that you know you should be limiting anyways, but it's making up the majority of your calories. So is the food bad, or is it the quantity that you're eating? So take a chill. You can have your white bread if you want. Have whole grains as often as you can tolerate or as often as you like. But you don't have to bully yourself into thinking that it must be whole grain or else it's the devil, because it's not. give me any questions or thoughts, or if you want to reach out, by all means, feel free to reach out. I'll answer any questions. All right, later.